In this video, I interview the ROVR team, and this project has some serious legs. They're using LiDAR technology to build high precision HD maps. And this data is going to be incredibly valuable for autonomous vehicles, training AI models, and in the coming years as robotics becomes a big part of our lives with spatial AI. They also recently partnered with Geodnet and have a very close working relationship with Geodnet founder Mike Horton and raised $2.6 million in a funding round earlier this year. Now, it is still an early stage project, having only been around for a little bit over a year, but they already have proof of concepts in place with real customers. And so far, the feedback on the quality of their data has been very positive, paving the way for them to sign some large contracts and bring meaningful revenue through the door. This is an interview you do not want to miss. Also, if you haven't already, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hopefully you enjoy the video. Greetings all. Today, we are joined by the ROVR team. We have the project founder, Guang. We also have one of their newer members, Chris Campbell, with us today. Guys, thanks for joining.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Yeah. Super excited. I've been looking at your project for some time. I know a lot of community members have been mapping with you guys for a while, and I've had a lot of discussions with them, as well as Geodnet founder Mike Horton, who I know you guys are working with quite a bit. We'll talk more about that. But as we lead in here, would love for you guys to give us a high-level overview of what ROVR is set out to do.
Yeah, one sentence. ROVR is building a decentralized 3D data platform by multiple sensors that include a LiDAR, camera, IMU, and something like that. And we are building the world's largest the data platform. Okay, so that data, we collected 3D data on the street, and that data is used for the spatial data for AI training and autonomous driving and robotics, something like that. Yeah.
Okay, so you guys are collecting a data set using a different technology than other projects. There are projects out there that are collecting 2D imagery, but you guys are using LiDAR.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Okay. For people that are watching, because I'm sure there are a lot of people that are watching that don't know what LiDAR is, how would you explain, what that technology does compared to other forms of technology?
Yeah, the LiDAR, LiDAR is authentic 3D sensors, and it emits the laser, the laser pulses, and measuring the time between the target and the sensor itself. Then it can calculate the distance of the target. Yeah, so for the LiDAR sensors, the LiDAR will emit hundreds of thousands the laser pulses per second. So that means the LiDAR can reconstruction the 3D environment, around the whole system. So that's why we use LiDAR to measure the depth information for the 2D imagery, and because this depth information can serve as the ground truth for the AI training, and also building the HD maps.
Okay. So you guys are kind of creating this 3D model around you, and you're using DePIN to do so. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But so you mentioned AI training.
Yes,
that's one of the main uses. But yeah, I guess that's the question. Like, who is buying this data, and who is this data valuable to?
Because right now, because we are collecting data on the street, and the biggest the potential customer is the OEM, the car manufacturer, who are going to develop the ADAS system and autonomous driving systems, because they need data to train the perception system and also the PNC pipelines. Yeah, so we can provide a huge amount of the data for them for training. Yeah.
Yeah, and also for autonomous driving companies out there as well to train their data or train our data on their systems.
Gotcha. Well, I think we are seeing a lot of movement in the autonomous driving sector between Waymo and what Tesla is doing. We'll dig in more on that. But also the robotics, right? The spatial AI is going to be massive in the coming years. So,
right.
This data set, doing some research, I think I saw that this HD mapping can be as much as $1,000 a kilometer, somewhere in that range. Is that correct? Or is that still accurate?
I think that's pretty accurate. As of maybe 2 years ago. I think it was around $1,000. I think it's going down, but that's about the rate.
I in a prior life I worked in the drone service space, and we used LiDAR technology for detecting issues on wind farms. So being able to detect cracks in the blades and being able to use LiDAR to be able to detect the size of that crack. And at the time, I know LiDAR technology was super expensive. My understanding, though, is it's come down quite a bit. And so the timing is really perfect for you guys, because even a few years ago, I don't know that you could have made this project work with the cost of where LiDAR was. But now using the DePIN approach, you can actually do this at scale, which is pretty cool. But before we get into those details, I would love to dig into your guys' backgrounds, because I know both of y'all have extensive work history in LiDAR and mapping and DePIN as well. Guang, if you want to start off, Guang, I believe that you worked in DePIN as well as with LiDAR, correct?
Yes. I work in DePIN space more than 3 years. Before I founded ROVR, I was also the co-founder of Pisces Miner. Pisces Miner is the one of the manufacturer for helium, and we are already shipped over 30,000 hotspots for helium. Before that, I was also the LiDAR. I was in the LiDAR and the autonomous driving industry roughly 10 years. Yeah, and before that, I was a telecom engineer. Yeah, responsible for building the base stations for 3G and 4G. There's no 5G back then. Yeah, so yeah.
So
Yeah.
10 years in LiDAR, you worked in the telecom industry. So I
Yes.
imagine being in the telecom industry, and I'm sure you worked with pretty large budgets there, seeing what helium did probably kind of had that light bulb effect for you, I'd imagine.
Yeah, because in my career life, I more than 10 years. I built. I took 10 years to build just thousands of base stations. Yeah, and I spent hundreds of millions of dollars. Yeah, but when I know helium, they just a small team, right? And they use the Web3 approach, and they have built over 1 million base stations in just within 2 years. That's incredible. That's unbelievable for me, right? So
Yeah.
I at that time I think the Web3 or DePIN will change the world and will change the way we work and and the technologies. So that's why I all in Web3. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of us. I got into DePIN because of helium myself. I was a
Yeah.
large scale deployer, and I think a lot of projects have drawn inspiration from helium. So, how did you get from working with helium to deciding to launch Rover?
Yeah, because after I left the telecom industry, I joined the Valeda LiDAR. Valeda LiDAR is the one of the biggest LiDAR company who invent the LiDAR sensors. Yeah, for the cars. So I worked there 7 years, and I accumulate many customer resources, and I also work in the mapping the company, and also work with the autonomous driving team, and also the OEMs, the car manufacturers. So I think it's a good way to use the DePIN approach to collect the data instead of the Web2 way. Okay, because before when we collect the 3D data or mapping, I mean the HD mapping, it's very expensive. Yeah,
Yeah.
just you mentioned thousands of dollars per kilometers. Yeah, cost. So I think DePIN is the future, and we can use the DePIN method to collect enough data for the autonomous driving and HD mapping.
I absolutely have to say I agree. It's
Yeah.
the name of my channel, Deep in Connection, but I cover a lot of different Deep in projects. But yeah, you guys
Yes,
are really
absolutely.
serving a much needed data set. Again, I think the timing is perfect with the cost of the technology coming down to where you can actually deploy it at scale. And with what we're seeing with autonomous driving, really we're on the verge of a major breakthrough. I think Waymo just launched in New York, and we're seeing that spread across major cities. I just think we are in the right place at the right time. Chris, I do want to touch on your background because you're newer to the team,
Yeah,
but man, you looking at some of the companies you work for in mapping, you have about as much experience in mapping as I've seen. But I'd love for you to touch on your background as well.
sure. Yeah. So I started in the mapping industry about 30 years ago. Um, I was with a startup called Navigation Technologies, which is now called Here Technologies.
Mm,
So I spent 12 and a half years there, and then I went into Telenav um, as a map content manager. So I did all the compilation of the TomTom and Here data
mhm.
for Telenav. Um, for the past 10 years, I've been involved in HD mapping. So about 10 years ago, I was fortunate enough to get a job with Mercedes-Benz Research and Development, and my job there was to create specifications and requirements for the map companies. So I worked really closely with the engineers in Germany to develop uh, requirements. And originally, the engineers wanted extremely accurate data, like 2 centimeters, but we finally ended up with going with about 10 to 20 it is like the final product that went out to the map companies. The map companies originally wanted to do 50 centimeters, but that's not good enough for autonomous driving. So we kind of landed on 10, and so the last 10 years I've been primarily doing HD mapping. Um, so that's sort of my background.
Very cool. And for people that are watching, because I'm sure there are a lot of people that are just starting to learn about Rover. What is the difference between HD mapping and our traditional history of mapping?
Yeah, so the standard definition map is accurate to 3 to 5 meters, whereas the HD map is more specifically targeted to autonomous driving and 10 centimeter accuracy. The one thing about HD maps is they have a lot more attributes than the standard map, or not necessarily more attributes, but the attributes that we collect have to be more accurate. And there's the more focus on what you see as you drive. So like road furniture, fire hydrants, poles, signs, things like that. Those are sort of extra in the standard map, but they're required in the HD map. So
Mhm.
we have a lot of road furniture and signs and things like that at 10 centimeter accuracy.
Okay. Yeah, so that makes sense, especially for the use case that your data is going to be used for.
Right.
Certainly makes sense to have that extra accuracy. And I have to say, looking at your work history, I think you're a pretty solid addition to the team.
Oh, thank you.
Um, so I want to dig in a little bit more on the other players here because the big names. You have Waymo, and then I do want to talk about what Tesla's doing because they're doing a little bit differently, but they're still using LiDAR technology. I think there's a misconception around that.
Yeah.
But looking at Waymo, though, how do their vehicles and the cost and what they're doing compared to what you guys are doing?
Yeah, because Waymo is a autonomous driving car. It's driverless car, and also they collect data, and they already built a open data sites, named the Waymo Open Data Site. Yeah, WOD, right? But for us, yeah, our focus on the data collection, and we collect the data all over the world, and with different scenarios, and we prepare this data, the three data for all the customers, yeah, especially the OEMs. Yeah, so we have a different applications. Yeah, with Waymo.
Yeah, and
What's
the Waymo technology, they have it's quite expensive for all the sensors that they have on there.
okay?
Yes. Because we are using the auto grid sensors. For example, all of sensors are equipped in the mass production car. So that means we have a very good control of the cost.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Waymo sensor is crazy expensive.
Right.
Yeah.
I I think I was reading somewhere they're like in the range of like $500,000 for this
Yeah,
vehicle. Is that correct?
Yeah.
that's what I yeah.
So I think this is a good time to transition into your guys' hardware, which you have a couple of different pieces of hardware here. One, you have the
Mhm.
Tarantula X, which is at $199, and you have the Light Cone, which is the LiDAR unit. But let's
Mm.
talk about the Tarantula X first and what this does,
Mm.
and how it also works, in my understanding, in conjunction with Geodnet. So,
Mm.
what kind of data are you capturing here with the Tarantula X?
Yeah, because Tarantula X it's a RTK receiver plus IMU sensor plus encryption chip designed for Web3. So people can plug the Tarantula X. We call it TX. People uh, can connect the TX with their smartphone by Bluetooth. Yeah, and that means the TX can give the higher positioning accuracy for the smartphone, because the ordinary smartphones, they are just use the ordinary GPS module. That means their positioning accuracy is 1 to 5 meters, right? But we are using the RTK technology to make their smartphone to be the higher accuracy that reach to 2 centimeters. Yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, for people that are
Yeah.
watching the GeoNet network, and I've covered it quite a bit, they put base stations down all over the Earth so that as you connect to satellite systems, they correct for the margin of error where you can get, down to centimeter level accuracy. So Rover is actually tapping into that network to get really precise location data. So when they're capturing this RGB imagery with your phone, they can kind of
Yes,
verify the
correct.
network. So how many of these do you have on the road today?
Roughly 2,000 units.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty solid. So that is
Yeah.
kind of more verifying the network, and then you have the light cone. Okay, so this is the main flagship hardware, and I believe this is where the lidar comes, right?
Yes.
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 Okay. So I'll say when I spoke with Mike Horton, he looked into the technology you're using on this unit, and he was telling me like how impressed he was with the quality of the hardware.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would love for you guys to speak about how this unit maybe compares to other lidar technology, and maybe the price. Obviously, the price is 2,500, so it's not super cheap.
Yeah.
I believe you guys are hoping to push that price point down over time. But where would this have been a few years ago compared to now? And then if you could speak to kind of the specifications of this technology.
Yeah, because this LiDAR is equipped with many mass production ADAS car. And when we look back a few years ago, for example, the wider LiDAR, HDL 64 channel LiDAR, and that LiDAR is very expensive, roughly $100,000 per
Oh
unit.
wow.
Yeah, it's crazy expensive. But right now, just a few years passed, and the LiDAR price dropped very quickly. And but in our light cone, the LC, we call it LC device. The LiDAR is the most expensive components.
Hmm.
Yeah, so because the OEM, the car manufacturers, they purchase LiDAR very cheap, because they purchase they have the bulk purchase. For
Volume.
example, the
Yeah.
10,000 or 100,000 units per year. But we don't have their quantity, so we cannot reach their the MOQ. So that means our unit price is much higher than the OEM. But I believe if we shipped more and more Litecoin, and we have the capability and the possibility to cut the LiDAR price to hundreds of dollars. Yeah,
Mm, yeah.
Okay.
level. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure the price will continue to come down anyway with advancements. If we've seen the price driven down already just in the last few years.
Yeah.
I'd imagine that combined with you guys, increasing volume should help bring that cost down. So you're looking to get this under $1,000 in the
Yeah.
coming
Yeah.
years. Okay.
Yeah.
And right now, I believe you have 50 of these out there.
Yes, 50. Just the 50, because our first batch of 50 units is for some kind of test. This is our first batch, and we need to collect enough data to check what's the problem, and maybe in the next batch we can make some improvement.
Okay. And right now the next batch is open for pre-orders. And when are those expected to ship?
By the end of August.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I believe you have another 250 going out by the end of August.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty solid ramp up, because you guys have been around for a little bit over a year. But the other thing I want to call attention to here, and this is a post you guys recently had about the couple of things I want to call out here. Number one, it said, we heard from a couple of our data clients, plural. So you have clients that are already, leveraging this data today. Sounds like.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very impressive for how early stage the project is. The other thing I want to call out here is that it said that the data quality rivals the Waymo open data set. In some ways, it's even better. So would love for you to speak about some of the benefits that you have in your data. And then I'm sure with DePIN and being able to deploy at scale, some of that will come down to refresh rate and having more fresh imagery as well.
Because first, our LiDAR, the quality is very high, because we combine the camera sensor and the LiDAR sensor, and the position is very close. Other mapping car or 3D data collection cards, and the LiDAR and the camera, they have some distance. For example, the 50 centimeters or more. And that means the FOV for the camera and the LiDAR is the same. That means if our customer wanted to check the depth information of the RGB image, they can have the very accurate the depth information. Yeah. So that means this is many our customers love this. The second one is the coverage, because for example, the Vimo open data site, they just have the data in United States. Yeah, they don't have the data in Europe or Asia or Thailand, but we are different. We have the data all of the world, not all of the world, in many countries. Yeah, that means we have
mostly Europe and the United States.
Yes.
Is our coverage.
Yeah, and we have many scenarios. Yeah, so for the AI training, for the AI model, our customer need different scenario and need different corner cases, and we have that.
Because I think I was reading too, you guys are looking to expand into Japan and South Korea as well in the future there. The training thing is something I do want to touch on a little bit more, because I think there's a big conversation right now around test looks. They're not people are saying they aren't using LiDAR. They're using, or at least their robo taxi's not equipped with LiDAR.
Right.
Versus Waymo, but my understanding is they still use LiDAR for training their models, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Because the LiDAR, LiDAR is the only sensor can tell you the ground truth of depth information.
Yeah.
Yeah, the camera is an authentic 2D sensor. It cannot tell you how many meters the target from you, right? So people must use some algorithm or models to evaluate the distance. For example, the visual odometry or something like that. But LiDAR, they using the laser, the speed of light and the time, and it can calculate the very accurate of the distance between you and target. So that's very important for the AI training, because for AI training, people need the data for training, right? And people need data for verification, for validation, and that means people need some data to serve as the ground truth. So LiDAR data is the authentic ground truth. Yeah, and you can train the models and yeah. So that means for a Tesla car, if for the perception module, Tesla car, maybe they don't need a LiDAR, of course, but for the AI training, especially for the perception training, yeah, they also need LiDAR, yeah, to get the ground truth information.
So the LiDAR data you guys are collecting is going to be really instrumental in training all these AI models. And obviously, we talked a little bit, further down the road, maybe in the next 5 years, the robotics, I think, are going to be really big. But let's talk about right now. What type of customers are you serving, and then what type of mapping are you looking at? I mean, is it like highways? Is it like cities? Like, what's the most valuable type of coverage for you today?
Urban areas is an area that is trending upward, whereas a lot of the a lot of the big companies like GM, Ford, they have this Blue Cruise and Super Cruise,
Mhm.
and that's mostly on the highway. So what we can do is we can actually create dynamic updates to that for the highway data. So
Mhm.
we can target our drivers to refresh those areas. But I think the next step is urban areas, where the problem is a little bit more difficult, but our mapping can handle that.
'Cause we're still early stages here, obviously, but what type of customers are you able to serve today? Because obviously you read some of that feedback. You guys have 50 of the LCs out there, 2,000 of the TXs. I'm just curious, like, if maybe you can't mention them by name yet. I don't know if you can officially announce them, but like, what type of customer are you serving today?
That's a very great question. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because right now only the OEM, the car manufacturers, they have the capability to bulk purchase the data, right?
Mhm.
Other companies like the humanoid robot companies, they don't want the mass production, the large scale data around the world. So finally, yeah, we are our end user is OEMs. That's for sure. But for the OEMs, they are conservative sometimes. They
Yeah.
yeah, they don't like to cooperate with a startup at the very beginning. So that means we right now we are trying to cooperate with some AI companies, because the AI companies, they are providing some models for the OEMs, and we're providing some kind of the data, yeah, and to them, and they train their models, and then they provided their models to the OEMs. So that means we are not the tier one. We are some kind of the tier two
Yeah.
suppliers. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Okay.
a lot of what we're doing is selling to autonomous driving companies, um,
Mhm.
where they can use our data to train their AI. We
Mm.
also provide fresher maps for the map companies too.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm curious about that. Like, so the other companies that are creating these HD maps today, what type of
Mhm.
refresh rate do they generally see?
Yeah, because that depends area, and our target fresh rate is weekly. Yeah,
Okay.
but because we don't have the enough nodes, enough the contributors around the world, because we are just a startup, and our network up and running last September.
Yeah.
And yeah, so right now in some specific area we can do it for monthly, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
But our target is weekly. Yeah, so
weekly. Yeah.
that means we pay our contributors yeah, weekly by token ROVR tokens. Yeah.
Sure. So your goal is to get to weekly refresh rate.
Yeah.
The other companies out there, like your competitors, are they doing monthly? Are they doing annually? Like, what is the typical refresh rate for other companies out there today?
I think it's maybe quarterly or
Yeah, quarterly. Yes, quarterly. Yeah, the
Okay.
navin for the here map, they provide quarterly. Yeah, for
So
some specific area, not all the area.
yeah,
Yeah.
just yeah, it's very targeted. So
Yeah.
they know, using satellite imagery and things like that, you kind of know what changes, and then
mhm.
you can target your collection based on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you can build the token incentive model around where you need mapping
Yeah,
to take place,
Yeah.
obviously.
exactly.
But
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, if you guys can get to weekly refresh rate and they're at quarterly, I mean, that in itself is a huge value add. And then using DePIN,
Mm.
right, and being able to
Yes.
scale, I imagine you'd be able to come in at a better price point than a lot of these other entities as well.
yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay, so there's some significant value adds there.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some metrics. I mean, how many kilometers have you all mapped so far in total?
Right now, we already collect over 18 million kilometers. Yeah, and for that's for totally. Yeah, the LC plus the TX. But for LC, the professional, the LiDAR equipment, we collect over, I think, up to yesterday, it's 300,000 kilometers. Yeah, because the data is so huge, right?
Yeah.
It's a 3D.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we are the biggest the customer in DePIN project. Yeah, and our right now we already stored over 1 PB data. Yeah,
Wow.
on cloud. Yes, that's
Yeah.
huge.
Those
Yeah.
the cloud costs have to be up there. I don't know if you guys have
Yeah.
looked at any decentralized storage options, but it might be worth looking into with the amount of data you guys have.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Right now we store our data on AWS. Yeah,
Okay.
in United States and Europe. But I think in the future we have the plan to change our storage system to Web3 storage. Maybe we will cooperate with a Web3 storage project. Maybe we will build our own storage network. Yeah, that depends. But
Yeah.
I think in the very short future we will discuss about this because the storage cost for AWS is insane.
Yeah.
It is insane. Yeah,
Yeah,
I can certainly make some introductions for you guys. I know some
Sure.
players in the Web3 space that can offer storage. So okay, so
Yeah.
let's talk about some goals for the year, and then I do want to talk a little bit about your tokenomics and your partnership with Geodnet.
Yeah.
Do you have a goal for like how many kilometers do you want to hit by the end of the year, and how many units you'd like to have out on the road by the end of 2025?
By the end of this year, we will have 5,000 units of the TX
Mhm.
and 500 units of the LC devices. Yeah,
That's pretty
that's
solid.
yeah
I think
5,000 TX plus 500 LC device. No, because we are a serious project. So if we sell our hardware to our contributors or miners, we keep our promise. We say 3 months we deliver the hardware. We will deliver that within 3 months. Yeah.
Yeah.
so. You have 250 by the end of August, and then that would put you at another like 200 by the end of the year. Would be the goal on the light cones, and they have 5,000. So you have
Yes.
2,000 TXs out there now, so another 3,000 by the end of the year. I think that would be really solid.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that you already have customers you're working with, as you get more units out there, you get more coverage. That's only
Yes.
going to build your proposition and the value of the data set that you have, right? So
Yeah.
that should drive more revenue at that point. Now, obviously, you guys are doing something right because I do want to bring this up. You recently closed a pretty good sized funding round, seed funding round, $2.6 million, led by Borderless and Geodnet. So,
Yeah.
would love for you to talk a little bit about your partnership and relationship with Mike Corden over at Geodnet.
Yeah, because we have several levels of cooperation. The first level, of course, the Geonet invest us, and the second level is a technical level because all of our sensors and the devices, the hardware, they need the RTK service, and Geonet is the biggest RTK network in the world. And before I use plenty of RTK network, and Geonet network RTK network is perfect. It's much better than the network I used before. Yeah. So that means we must have a very close relationship and cooperation with Geonet.
I have to say I've worked closely with Mike Corden for quite some time.
Yeah.
It's really, I think it's really valuable to have him working with you guys because he's obviously built out a really solid project in Geodnet. It's getting a lot of usage. I do want to jump over to the tokenomics. Did you guys work closely with Geodnet? Your tokenomics are similar on the way that your token burns work. So curious, did you all work in conjunction with Geodnet in developing your tokenomics?
Yes, that's correct. We will burn 20% of Geonet tokens. Yeah, because the RTK service is very important and essential for our data. Without RDK, that without the accuracy. So so that's the one of the cooperation. Yeah, so we will burn 20% Geonet tokens. Yeah, many people don't realize the RDK, and it's very important, and it's very fundamental service for the many project. Yeah, because before I work I manufacture the hotspots for Helium, and back that time Helium doesn't use the RDK network, and it caused a lot of problems. So if they use RDK service at that time, yeah, they will solve a lot of problems. Yeah, for example, the anti-spoofing,
Yes.
and the accuracy, positioning accuracy, something like that. Yeah,
Absolutely. I absolutely agree. And
yeah,
just to touch on and illustrate the burn mechanism, 60% of all revenue coming in is used to buy back circulating rover and permanently burn it. So again, that's very similar to Geodnet's tokenomics, and then 20% goes to buying and permanently burning Geodnet. So there is a direct correlation in the token burns there, and then 20% goes to operational expenses, which Geodnet's the same way. I think that makes a lot of sense. And then we look at the breakdown here. The community is getting over half, so 51%, 20% to the team, 20% to investors, and then you have the ecosystem. I think that's very similar as well to what Geodnet's doing. So solid tokenomics, I think, compared to a lot of other projects we see out there. I think those tokenomics are pretty good. So for people that want to participate in the project, what's the best way for them to get involved?
Just buy a TX, $199 and try. Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah, very interesting. Yeah. So
the TX is the one. So just so people know, it kind of looks like it goes on top of the car here, and then you'd set up your phone in conjunction to collect RGB data or visual data and provide to the network there. Yes, lower entry point, $199. So if you're looking to get your feet wet, it's not a bad way to go. If you want to, especially if you're, say, a professional driver, let's say you're on the road a lot, the light cone is also an option. Now it is a little bit higher price, but still, I imagine the rewards are better for the LC over the TX as well because the price point's higher.
10 times reward. Yeah.
Okay, 10 times reward. So that makes sense. So if you're on the road a lot, I mean, this is something that you can look at, and also learn more about the project. I mean, definitely follow ROVR on X, guys. And let me pull that up for you all. So go ahead and follow the ROVR account here. And then in Discord too. One thing I'd say about Discord, you can always connect with other people in the community. If you have questions about what it's like participating in the project, that's always a really good resource to go to, you guys. But man, super exciting stuff and what you're doing. We covered a lot of ground, but is there anything else that you want to touch on? Any exciting announcements coming up? Any goals looking forward that we didn't touch on that you'd like to highlight?
Because our next plan is to open source the world's largest open data sites. Yeah, because there are several data sites on the market. For example, the Waymo open data sites. The new things come from the Tokenomics, and the Argo words come from the Argo. But all of the data sites, it's not strong enough for supporting the AI training, for the autonomous driving, for the academic and the commercial usage. So we are going to open source the world's largest open data sites, and it will cover all of the world, and it will cover so many the scenarios, and so many weathers and the conditions. So that's our next plan. Yeah,
that's fantastic. And then as far as like revenue goes, do you guys have any revenue goals by the end of this year and into 2026?
Yeah, because we already have some POC contract from our customers. It's very small, but we are already start the cooperation with our target customers, and our plan is to get the real contract. Yeah, I mean the mass produced bulk purchase the contract by the end of this year, if everything goes smoothly. Yeah.
That'd be great. And like for people watching, this is how this works, guys. Like you do your POCs, proof of concept. It looks like the feedback you're getting already is really, really good. So, generally companies are going to want to try out the product first, and then you ink the contracts. I mean, it's a multi-stage process. It doesn't happen overnight, but it sounds like you guys are definitely on the right track there. Well, guys, like this is really exciting stuff. Again, I think it's perfect timing with the technology coming down to a price point where you can really expand at scale through DePIN. I don't think this even could have existed just a few years ago. And then you guys have all the pertinent work history that's necessary to execute on this thing. I think the partnership with Geodnet, the funding round you had, everything seems to be coming together, and just super excited. So make sure, guys, follow them. Keep in contact with this project. I think that there's a very bright future ahead. I appreciate your time today. It's been a pleasure. And for everyone watching, appreciate you tuning in as well.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.